Wait, look at how you want to see. You want to see who's really upset about it, ladies and gentlemen. You want to see who's really upset? You can tell I've been doing like baby cat voices all day with Bucky, can't you? How's it doing? Who is it? I've been talking to the new kitten like he's a baby all day. Greg Kelly, good guess. Just that's true though, because he was asleep on. Hold on, is my phone in here? Yeah, hold on. Can I show you something? Can I? Because he's in the other room. He's probably upstairs with Camden. He was asleep on the couch, and should come in there. Ba-dong. There it is. All right, open this up. There you go. Let's see. Dink. Yeah. And I'll stretch this out. Wait a second. There we go. Can I mean, he was asleep on the couch, being a puddin'. Look at him being a puddin'. Look at him. Just being a puddin' with his little bell on. Is Bucky short for buckaroo? It very well could be. Yeah, he was, yeah, it's so, like, he's very floppy. He's our floppiest cat by far. Like you can carry him around on your arm like this, and he's just like, whatever. It's great. And he was laying on the couch, just like, and he woke like he was so tired. And Camden came, picked him up, and he was just like, oh, I don't know. I've been running so much, and he was like holding him, just like, I'm like, careful, he'll just flop everywhere. Yes, Buckaroo Banzai, exactly. But yeah, so just a sweetie. Yeah. So he's already getting along. He's going to be a pretty cat. He is. Yeah, he's a carry me cat, and he wants to be. He follows you around, and he'll like his little peep meow that really doesn't beep like that, and like he wants to be picked up because he wants to like have the view of being at like shoulder level. Yeah. So he's completed our side. Okay, now I have to palate cleanser. That was our palate cleanser. But back to the show. Who's really? You think Lana Douche is mad? You think Marjorie Taylor Greene is mad? Oh, buddy, look out! Tim Pool has got his mad face on. Oh, dang it! No, it's not Alex Jones yet. Look. Oh. Take that picture again. I wasn't looking scally enough. I'm doing my harumph. That seems to be what it's doing. One big, beautiful bill. And this is very wordy. Elon Musk declares war on Trump's massive bill, adding 2.5 trillion to the deficit. Is the thing. Yeah. So I'm going to squeeze down here, will you? I guess it's like this. This is as small as it gets. Is that what happens? Do I need to get the... It's hard to fit all this in the screen. There you go. Yeah, so we'll just drop into this. This will be too long.
Trump's big, beautiful bill. It's likely going to pass. It made it through the House. It's going through the Senate. The opposition...
No, it's not likely going to pass, dipshit.
And the Senate is minimal, with Rand Paul being the principal actor saying, hey, we don't want to add trillions of dollars to the deficit. We got to cut the budget. Donald Trump says this is going to be fantastic. We got from the White House 50 reasons why it's great. They're saying it's a massive reduction. It's going to do a lot of things for the Trump agenda, things you want to see happen.
No, probably not.
Trump needs that spending package. He needs these.
Why? Why does he need all this extra money? I thought he was like the businessman who could come in, early and under budget, right? What do you need the extra fucking money for? I thought they were going to cut $2 trillion and you were just going to use those savings, dum-dum.
Funds allocated. But Elon Musk's calling it a disgusting abomination.
Which is interesting because that's the reviews of your show in general. So maybe you could sue them for IP theft.
Saying that it's bloat,
Trademark.
It's anti-Doge, it negates the work that they were doing. has a lot more to it than that. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted that she didn't realize in the House that this big, beautiful bill includes a provision that restricts the regulation of AI at the state level for 10 years. I mean, this bill is reported, I think it's around 1,100 or so pages long. Nobody read it.
Jesus Christ. It's almost like an addendum to the ACA or something. I thought Republicans were going to solve all that shit. No big bills, everything cut into, all the programs get their own vote by themselves, all these individual things, right? The big, beautiful bill is the antithesis of everything that they ran on for years. Now, here's the weird part. Which side can this dipshit afford to come down on? It's not like he could take a principled stance on anything.
They don't know what's in it. Now, I will say this. Mr. Filibonti reliably informs me that there is this provision in the big, beautiful bill that would take suppressors off of the NFA restricted items list. And now I'm kind of like, just, I know they're talking about adding $2.5 trillion to the deficit over the next, I think it's, next 10 years?
No, not 2.5 to the next, in the next 10 years. $5 trillion in the next 2.
But I want to buy a bunch of suppressors, so, we weigh this one. So right now, this is the big fight. And the question is, who's right? Donald Trump and his allies are saying this is going to cut down on costs. It is a large reduction, while the corporate...
Which it is not. So if you're talking about right morally or whatever, both of them are fucked. But that's wrong. That's just materially wrong.
Corporate press and Elon Musk are saying it's adding massive bloat. Then you've got questions about what is actually in the bill.
Yeah, but don't worry. Tim has read it. Tim's read it. Tim read it. Go ahead, Tim. Tell him what's in it.
And here's my favorite part. Everybody's talking about how, with all this going on, Donald Trump's approval rating is better than Obama and Bush for the same time in their second terms. Okay.
From Rasmussen, you mean?
I'll roll with it because it sounds good, but the
also not Biden? That's interesting.
polls are, what's the right word for it? Manic. One pollster has Trump up 13.
Hey, fuckwad. What the hell does this have to do with the actual bill? Whether the legislation will pass or not, and the value of what's in it? Mr. I can stand for another $2.5 trillion added to the deficit if I can buy a fucking silencer. Why? Because as big a pussy as you are, having a gun isn't enough. You have to be able to shoot people in quiet, in silence. Does the noise make your ears go boom, boom?
The next has them down 7. In the same time period, a 20-point swing.
Nobody cares.
It makes sense? Yeah, I didn't think so. So let's get into all this. We'll talk about it, my friends. Before we do, shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club. You guys rock. Thank you guys for hanging out in this noon hour in the Rumble morning lineup as I transition you into the afternoon. I'm your host, Tim Pool. You can follow me on X and Instagram. You got the ometer, QSense.
No.
Going for private members. Game development omnibus bill. New York Times. Elon Musk.
Oh, by the way, so you're checking the New York Times, which is the legacy media is fake news, full of shit, and is untrustworthy, but that's where you're going for your source. Cool. You do realize you're not allowed, right? You're not allowed to shit on the legacy media and then use it as a source, right? If you find something in it that's wrong, you're allowed to use it. But if you're using it as like, this is indication of what actually occurred or what was actually said, you're not allowed. You have lost your library card.
Calls Trump policy bill a disgusting abomination. Now I'm up to...
Which is true. He did say that. And so no lies detected, I guess.
2 minds on this one.
Of course you are, because you can't have a standard because you don't understand any of it.
I am. I hate the omnibus bill. I hate the mass spending that they always do. I loved when Matt Gaetz said single item spending bills. They found a way to get rid of him from Congress, but shout out to him and his new... No. They didn't find a way.
He found a way to split before the ethics committee brought it forward that he was engaged in trafficking of children.
Show. And what do we get now? Donald Trump gets in, and once again, we're looking at omnibus spending. One big, beautiful bill, he says, but I'm of two minds on this. You know why?
Because you don't actually have any standards and you're a vacillating butt plug for Trump and Putin and Elon Musk, I guess. And so anytime there's a division amongst those people, you have to be divided because you are loyal to them.
I am not a revolutionary, my friends. I am not. I'm a reformer, which means frequently we will compromise. So what do we have here? I don't like how the government mass spends. I don't like how they strip our buying power and our savings away through mass spending and deficit spending. But
yeah, they don't.
I want Trump to win. I want Trump to win, and these...
Why would you want him to win if that's what he's doing? How does that make any sense whatsoever? If he's doing the thing that you hate, you just said you fucking hate it. If he's doing the thing you hate, why do you want him to win? How does that... Listen to that again.
Will compromise. So what do we have here?
What do we have here?
Like how the government mass spends.
Don't like it.
I don't like how they strip our buying power and our savings away through mass spending and deficit spending. But I want Trump to win.
You want him to win at the game of stripping away your buying power with deficit spending.
I want Trump to win, and these next few years are extremely important. Now, many people may say, but Tim, they always promise to make these cuts, but they never do, and they're going to keep doing it, perhaps. However, the attacks on our institutions from the far left and Democrats, the way they defend human traffickers, the way they defend MS-13 gang members.
Okay, you mean the guy who had a bunch of people driving to a job site and he was driving a car? By the way, you do realize we're defending the rule of law, because if you can violate it for, the sketchy people in society, you can violate it for everyone else. You guys seem to understand this when it comes to like online free speech, right?
The way they went after Catholics in that new FBI report, you see this one?
They didn't go after Catholics at all. There were anti-abortion groups posing as pro-life Catholic groups and using that as their wedge point to find and recruit people. It's not the same thing. They don't just gather you up just for being Catholic, or Biden would have been in fucking jail, because he goes to church more times in a month than Trump has gone in his life.
The way they tried to, the way they literally called parents terrorists.
They did not literally call parents terrorists. They didn't.
I'm sitting there being like, okay. This is the status quo in how they do spending bills. It's not even a grand departure.
Sorry, what are we in a deficit because of Catholics and school board terrorists?
From what from what the government normally does. So that's why I kind of roll my eyes. I don't like what they're doing, and I oppose a lot of it. However, I want Trump to win. So it is tough.
Why, again, if he's doing the thing you hate, why do you want him to win? How does this make any fucking sense? This is just dumb. I'm starting to think we owe Marjorie Taylor Greene an apology.
It's tough. Democrats are going to try and win back power in 26 in the midterms. They will immediately impeach Trump. If they win...
Yes, don't threaten me with a good time. But I think yes. Yeah, I think that works. That works for me. Does that work for everybody? Yeah, okay.
The presidency in 28, they're going to open the border, flood this country with illegal immigrants, ship the 2030 census, and they'll never lose another election.
Why? If Latinos tend to be, for example, Catholic, as you said, they tend to be more pro-life. They tend to be more conservative. So why would opening the southern border lead to a Democratic majority? It wouldn't. As a matter of fact, the idea that like black people in the United States leaning Democratic has become a normal thing because of actions taken by the Democratic Party to protect them as they were recovering from things like Jim Crow and redlining and those kind of things. Whereas the Hispanic community is a very diverse population that came into the country through a myriad of different ways. And the ones that crossed the border 10 years ago just to work in a field are very different from the people who are able to pay a coyote $16,000 to sneak across the border. These are two different people. The people who came across to pick strawberries don't have $16,000 in their back pocket. So the people that do have that, for them and their wife and their two kids, are rich enough to get in and pull the ladder up behind them. It's a different group of people. And opening the border like that would just bring those people in first. They're not going to give a shit about democratic principles. They're not going to want, better immigration policy. They're going to want the door shut behind them.
So it's hard to say. Now, I think this bill is going to pass either way, but let's read the news and break down what we got going on. The New York Times says Elon Musk lashed out on Tuesday against the far-reaching Republican bill intended to enact President Trump's domestic policy agenda, posting on X that it was a disgusting abomination and telling House members who voted for it, you did wrong. The tech billionaire criticized the bill, one of Mr. Trump's top priorities.
Why don't you just read his fucking tweet? Why are you reading someone else's take of the tweet? You know it exists. This isn't an interview. This is how fucking stupid this is. Tim Pool, you're a dipshit. What the fuck is wrong with you? The New York Times is not reporting on an interview or an inside scoop or something from a fucking whistleblower or somebody in his organization who overheard him saying it at a fucking restaurant. He posted it on X and he followed it up with a bunch of other shit that was arguably worse, dum-dum. Read that. Why the fuck are you reading what they wrote about the thing that you could just read yourself?
A series of about 10 posts in them. Musk.
Yeah, I know. Go read the fucking posts. Fuck me.
Reshared commentary from lawmakers like Rand Paul and Mike Lee of Utah, two Republicans who had sided with him in opposing the rising U.S. deficit. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore, Musk wrote on X.
Yeah, you don't have to read the prose.
He called the domestic policy bill massive, outrageous, pork-filled, adding that it would massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit and that Congress is making America bankrupt. He is correct.
But Tim wants them to do it. He wants them to win because a win is valuable strictly for the winning, not for what actually, like, let's say you were having a competition with a fellow serial killer of how many people you could skull fuck on your way across the highways of America. Hey, winning is winning. You can't argue with it. Whatever the standards are, or the measuring stick of it, or what, all the damage done in the process, it's not important.
He did not target any specific members of Congress, but hinted that he might support efforts to unseat those who backed the bill in the 26 midterm elections. In November next year, we fire all politicians who betrayed the American people.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the New York Times article. I would say, though, that he hinted that he might support efforts to unseat those. In November next year, we fire all politicians who betrayed the American people. That's not a hint.
That includes Trump.
When does Tim break into his rap bit? Blimp, blimp. Like, yo, what if you had one shot to hide your bald spot and make your rhymes drop? Yo.
Trump is gung-ho on this bill. He's saying, let's roll, baby. And my attitude on this is, I think Trump knows full well the bill is bad.
That's amazing. That, what? All right. He's gung-ho on it because he knows it's bad. Hal, are we going to talk about MTG on the Senate floor today? You mean the House floor, Coach Share? We covered that already. I did the whole video. So if you want to hop back to the beginning of the show, you can watch it and catch up. I did it. I did cover it. Run this by me again.
Includes Trump. Mm-hmm. Trump is gung-ho on this bill.
Yeah, Trump is gung-ho, and you want him to win. He's the guy, man. This is the shit. He's going to do it. He's gung-ho about it. Or I guess as, I think as Diamond and Silk would say it.
Go.
Yeah, he's hung-go about it. And congratulations, Tim, by citing a newspaper you say is fake as a source for your own program. You win the 5 eggs.
5 eggs in a month.
That's right. You get 5 eggs.
5 eggs.
He wins the 5 eggs award. We haven't given that out in a while.
He's saying, let's roll, baby. And my attitude on this is, I think Trump knows full well the bill is bad.
Then why does he want it?
But he's thinking, there's a handful of things in there I need and want, I'll take it.
What? Why didn't he just pass a bill with the handful of things he needs without burdening it with a bunch of other shit?
It's tough. I wish it was as easy to be like Elon or like Trump and just say one way or another, this is exactly what must be done. Either we trash the bill or we support the bill. But I have concerns beyond just this.
Yes, you do. He's a deep thinker, that Dim Pool. Dim has been very concerned about this for a very long time. He thinks things on that most of us are afraid to think, like,
I like wood.
No, that's the wrong guy.
What happens if the Trump administration does not succeed in their priorities?
Well, is their priority adding $5 trillion to the deficit and $10 trillion to the debt over a 10-year period?
If we stand on principle today and say, you know, look, I think Thomas Massey is fantastic. Thomas Massey and Rand Paul, my favorites, and they obstruct. It's what they do. And I've often disagreed with them because I do think
it's like watching somebody try to unclog a sink with a cold, uncooked hot dog. It's just sad.
I don't think we have such an easy solution to this issue. And I don't think things are always as simple as stand by your principles, stop the increase in the deficit, and we'll be good. Okay.
No, you don't, because that's what Trump said. He said it was going to be easy, and the only reason we hadn't done it so far is because we got stupid people in there. Now he's in there. He's doing the exact same thing, which cogito ergo sum, e pluribus unum, have a nice day, would mean he's stupid. Yeah, my wife says that makes him stupid.
Maybe. I don't know for sure. What I can say is I feel like if Trump doesn't get the agenda items he needs, Democrats will find a way to seize power and undo literally everything.
How can they undo things that he hasn't gotten done? We'll save that for later, stupid. But on top of that, what if he gets what he wants and they cause the damage that we've been talking about, and the Democrats seize even more power because the things he wants to do are so expensive and so useless and are actually detrimental to our economy and to the health and welfare of the citizenry? What about that one? Just factor that in. What if what he's trying to do is absolutely fucked and only benefits him and a bunch of his rich friends, and they could give a shit about the rural communities and all that kind of stuff because he's not going to run again, and their fortune is made outside the United States when he's done being president. So Don, Eric, Ivanka, it'll be a shock if they ever set foot back in the United States again after 2028, because they won't have to. They'll just be like fucking like partying like they're in Moscow all the time, maybe actually in Moscow.
So what is it saying? Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good? Or
Jesus Christ, you didn't say it was like this is about perfection or it's good. You said it's bad. He knows it's bad. Don't make perfect be the enemy of the bad. That doesn't work.
Whatever, or something like that. I'm always mixing up. But the general idea is,
I'm so glad I came here. Who can? It's okay. You know, everybody can mix up a phrase now and again, a colloquialism. I mean, Ozzy, he who laughs last is just a hand in the bush.
This is bad, but it's status quo. But it gives Trump the opportunity he needs to get a lot of stuff done. Now, I'm not...
Through the status quo, which means government works, which means that's the conduit by which you have to do things. So shut the fuck up and stop decrying the government overall and taxes and all this other stuff, because you're rooting for him to win on the court that's built. Like the tennis court or the basketball court, not the SCOTUS or something.
Saying. that
You're not saying anything. You're not saying it. This asshole is not saying anything. Tim Pool, you're not saying anything.
the end result of this is we should support the bill. I want to clarify this.
Why? Oh, wait, sorry. You're not saying you should support the bill. Fuck, these guys. That's what I call leadership.
Gives Trump the opportunity he needs to get a lot of stuff done. Now, I'm not saying that the end result of this is we should support the bill. I want to clarify this. A lot of people will say things.
It sounded, I don't know about you, but it sounded like he was saying support the bill because Trump needs to win no matter what. So, fucking hell.
Tim, once again, in the middle on this. Well, it's because I don't know what to tell you, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe.
Then, Tim, guess what, asshole? That's not the middle. That's not the middle. The middle is there's a balance of things here, and I would prefer this, and I think overall it's wrong, and we should compromise and build something. That's the illusion of the middle you like to present, but that's nowhere near where you actually are. You're not even on the fucking court, buddy. You're in the fucking bleachers. You're yelling at the umpire terms you heard at a hockey game. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I'm going to weigh the pros and the cons on this one, and then you're going to have to use your judgment to make that determination.
Sorry, you're going to weigh the pros and cons, and okay, so weigh the pros and cons. Let's give us the pros and cons. Here we go. Maybe he's actually going to give us something. Here we go.
Maybe people would prefer if I was just banging my gavel. Look, I got a gavel right here, and I was like, Trump can do whatever he wants. But I'm like, that AI provision in there that says states can't regulate AI for 10 years.
Yeah, that was an attack on California.
Trump is cutting the leash on AI because we're terrified of what China might do, and it can destroy us.
Well, then why would you want a state to be able to limit AI if Chinese AI will get ahead of us and destroy us? Francie says, did Tim read the bill? Francie, you're adorable. No.
This is why I don't run for office.
That's not why. That's not why. You'd have to take off your fucking beanie.
So, my friends, Elon Musk accuses Trump of driving America into debt slavery as he escalates the war with the president.
Right. So why are you reading articles about this when he just posted all this shit?
The billionaire tech giant and former first buddy, once glued to Trump's side, bombastically claimed overnight that Trump is plunging the U.S. into debt slavery in an escalation of his war with the president. I don't think they're mad at each other, to be completely honest. But I certainly think Elon is upset over this bill.
Whatever gave you that idea? The articles you're reading about the stuff that he wrote someplace else? Maybe you'll have a better context if you actually just read it straight from where he fucking posted it, you weirdo. I don't know why this is such a hang-up, but like for somebody that just shits all over the news all the time, and then that's exactly where he runs to, especially when it's details you could get elsewhere.
They say the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed the House last month, but is now held up in the Senate, where some Republicans agree with Musk's criticism of the legislation. While Musk opened up the pathway for criticism earlier this month, he really began tearing into his former best friend with a series of posts on X Tuesday and Wednesday. Besides his billions, Musk is also highly influential because of his notoriety in MAGA world.
Why are you reading this article? Okay, occasionally, can I make a point real quick, chat, if I may? Occasionally when something will come up and I have to fact check something that's going on directly, or there's a story that was related to something or a historical event or a statistic or something, I will go and look it up so that I'm not just pulling it out of my ass for the sake of just spouting a statistic or a story, or if it is something germane to a specific lie coming from the right or something, I'll go look it up. And sometimes I will read those like chunks of those articles to you to show you what they are, just to, because it's better TV than me just putting it on the screen and go, read that, check that shit out, right? That's it. This is how he preps his fucking show. This is the show. This isn't, well, occasionally I have to look something up and throw up an article. Where's that article? I want to talk about that again. This is it. This is the whole fucking Ben Shapiro, dipshit doing a show on his laptop at Starbucks, reading the screen out loud as a format. Good fucking God.
And his control over one of the most popular social media platforms in the U.S. With 220
boring
million followers on X and
boring, Tim. Tim, boring.
Control of the algorithm, Musk
Boring.
could easily turn the tides against Trump and his agenda with tweaks to what his followers...
With tweaks to what his... Sorry. And his agenda with tweaks to what his followers and all of the other users can see. Tweaks? Tweets? Tweets, I think, is what they meant, not tweaks.
All
Well, maybe since he's on ketamine so much, maybe they do mean tweaks.
users can see. Indeed. He called it pork-filled. Well, let's take a look at where we're at. I think I have the tweet from Elon, but we get it. Donald Trump addressing Rand Paul's obstruction. He says Rand votes no on everything, but never has any practical or constructive ideas. His ideas are actually crazy, losers. The people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill. Is it? Well, let's take a look at the corporate press. Not that I trust them.
Yeah, you do. You just cited them. You read what they said. You're taking what they say as gospel, dum-dum.
NBC News reports GOP bill for Trump's agenda would add $2.4 trillion to the debt over 10 years, budget office says.
Well, then why not read what the Congressional Budget Office says and go, oh, my God, they're telling me the truth. Therefore, I must be an asshole.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office also found that the House passed legislation would increase the number of people without health insurance by 10.9 million by 2034.
Yeah, but don't threaten Tim with a good time.
The sweeping Republican bill for President Donald Trump's domestic agenda is projected to add $2.4 trillion over 10 years. To be fair, that's $240 billion a year. The figure is slightly higher than an earlier version of the bill, which with the CBO projected at $2.3 trillion. The Budget Office also estimated the package would increase the number of people without health insurance by 10.9 million by 2034 because of spending cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. And I'm going to tell you right now why that's not correct.
All right, let's hear it. Here you go. Some details.
Because there's no babies. So,
What? Oh, he thinks the population's going to drop that much? And so the people that need health care, namely older people, by the way, aren't going to need it. Those people are going to lose their insurance. They won't exist. In a country of 340 million people, the possibility that 10 more million people wouldn't have insurance is not possible because we don't. Our fertility rates are low. Is that the idea?
in 9 years, there's going to be substantially less people.
No, there isn't. There's going to be in 9 years. There's going to be very close to the same amount of fucking people.
I'd imagine that number would go down.
You're an idiot. No, because older people tend to need their health insurance more, stupid. It isn't about the new people. Also, by the way, you're right that there'll be fewer babies because this will also remove like prenatal care for expectant mothers and especially underprivileged mothers. And that would include like white trash moms in Eastern Kentucky and Eastern Tennessee and out through the Oregon Trail and the Appalachian Trail and Idaho and Iowa and all those places. So they'll die in childbirth. So, I guess that's one of those things you're hoping Trump wins on.
The long-awaited news score factors in a series of last-minute revisions GOP leaders made to placate holdouts before the House passed legislation last month. Changes include a higher state and local tax deduction, which is BS, by the way. Do you guys know about the SALT stuff? Basically,
yeah, tell us about the SALT stuff.
Democrat states have really high taxes. And what they're saying is, we want it to be that if you pay state taxes, you get a deduction on your federal taxes so that the tax burden is lower per person. That means that blue states, which have really high taxes,
who also pay more to the federal government than anybody else as well, and pay for the red states that leech off the blue states,
are going to basically give their people a tax break.
Right, so they can keep more of their money in the state, which you would normally be for, except it will fuck the red states that rely on them for all of their services.
And red states are going to have to foot the bill for the federal taxes.
Nope, they don't foot the bill for anything. They will just not, they'll get yanked away from the teat.
So red states are saying, why should we pay more to the federal government than you?
That's your job, because the blue states already pay more to the federal government than red states.
It's like, okay, I'm going to say this.
I'm going to say this. He's figured it out, ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, I'm in favor of it. You know why? Red states need to just raise their taxes. This is what was predicted. If this rolls out, Red states will just increase their taxes and tell other people, don't worry about it, though. Because of SALT deductions, you don't got to pay those taxes to the Fed, and we get to keep it. Indeed. If that actually
What?
happens, I doubt it. They say overall CBO and the Joint Committee on...
Yeah, sorry. Red states are not going to start producing more all of a sudden and become these, like, great sources of tax revenue for their own states, much less the federal government magically.
Taxation found that over a 10-year period, the legislation would decrease revenues by $3.7 trillion while cutting net spending by $1.3 trillion. The legislation is now in the hands of the Senate, where top Republicans want to pass a revised version by July 4th. It is unclear what changes they will make or how those are...
Jesus Christ. I can't do it. I can't, like, that's what this asshole does. He just reads articles from news sources that he decries and says are untrustworthy, but just reads them unapologetically. Just goes to him like this is, it's a trustworthy source when he reads it, but when it exists in the, in its normal environment, no. When it's just out there in the world, it's this amorphous cabal of baby-eating bullshitters. But if he needs a story, he'll just read something from NBC News or New York Times because they're reliable and the details are factually accurate. Dimple is saying magic paid. Oh. Good Lord. That's a show. By the way, it has a lot of subscribers. You should subscribe to my show so we can get my numbers up, because the only way I'm going to get to be able to, like, compete on a level playing field with some of these dickheads and end up confronting them directly is if I get my subscription numbers up. I'm not saying it's all on you, but it sort of is. So if you're out there, subscribe. Hit the subscribe right now. Do it. Do it. Don't think about it. Just do it. Just do it.